Place the SL half panel on the ground with the inside facing up. Measure 4 inches down along one of the shorter ends of the panel. Then from the edge measure 1¼ inches in and position a narrow angle bracket. Fasten it with 2 pan screws. Repeat that step at each corner so that 4 narrow angle brackets are in place along the 2 shorter ends of the panel. With some assistance, move the narrow window panel into place along the right side of the SL half panel. Check to see that the bottom of the 2 panels are flush. Then use pan screws to fasten the panels together at each bracket. Move the cafe chalk wall window panel into place along the left side of the SL half panel. Make sure the panels are flush along the bottom, and then secure them in place with pan screws. After moving the assembly into a vertical position, place a wall post along the narrow window panel. It should be tight to the top of the SL half panel and flush with the edge of the narrow window panel. Pre-drill 2 holes through the wall post, then insert wafer lags and tighten them well. Repeat those steps on the other side, making sure the wall post is tight to the top of the SL half panel and flush with the edge of the cafe chalk wall window panel. Now place the top cross on top of both wall posts. Pre-drill 2 holes on each side, then use wafer lags to fasten the top cross to the panels. With at least 2 helpers, move the slide side wall assembly and the swing side wall assembly together. In the correct position, the edge of the cafe chalk wall window panel will be tight against the edge of the door side panel. Place the front ground on the outside of the 2 adjoining panels. When it's in position along the bottom, loosely attach the front ground in place with 4 wafer bolts. From the inside, move the front floor into position just above the cafe chalk wall window panel and attach it loosely from the outside with 2 wafer bolts. When the panels are lined up squarely, secure the front floor panel in place using 2 wood screws on each end. Now tighten the bolts on the front floor. From inside the assembly, hammer 2 T-nuts into the holes at the bottom of each narrow window panel. Then from the outside, move the back ground into place. When it's aligned at the bottom of the 2 panels, loosely attach the back ground with 4 wafer bolts. Hammer 4 T-nuts into the back floor. Next, move it into position just above the cafe chalk wall window panel and attach it loosely from the outside with 4 wafer bolts. Install 4 more T-nuts in the holes at the top of the narrow window panels, then move the back top into position on the outside. Secure it loosely with wafer bolts. Use a square to make sure the assembly is aligned properly. Then tighten the back floor into place with 2 wood screws per side. Make sure to tighten all of the bolts on the back and front of the assembly. From the inside, place a flat panel bracket at the top of the door side panel where it connects with the cafe chalk wall window panel. Secure it with 4 pan screws. Attach a second flat panel bracket just below the first near the base of the window. With some help inside the assembly, move the floor joist into position. On one end, make sure the top of the joist is flush to the top of the SL half panel and lined up with the pilot holes. Then attach it with 2 wood screws. Do the same at the other end of the floor joist, making sure it lines up with the pilot holes on the SW side panel. When it's flush to the top of the panel board, attach it with 2 wood screws. Place the SL post into position above the door opening. Make sure it's tight to the top of the door side panel and firmly in place against the SW wall. Then attach it with 3 wood screws. Place a T-nut in the pre-drilled holes on the 2 short joists and the SL top left and SL top right and hammer them in. Position a post over one of the short joists and the SL top left so that all of the pre-drilled holes are lined up, then attach the parts loosely with hex bolts. Repeat those steps to connect the other post with a short joist and the SL top right. With the short joist at the bottom, place the left side post assembly above the door so that it's touching the SW side panel and flush to the top of the front floor. Make sure the pre-drilled holes match up, then attach the left side post assembly with 2 wood screws. Repeat those steps to attach the right side post assembly. Make sure it's tight against the edge of the cafe chalk wall window panel. Now place the short floor joist against the middle of the front floor. Use 2 wood screws to attach it firmly in place. Make sure the SL top left is flush against the inside edge of the panel support on the SW side panel. Then check to make sure it's level on top before attaching it in place with 2 wood screws. Repeat those steps for the SL top right, which should be flush to the edge of the cafe chalk wall window panel. When you're done, tighten the bolts on each post assembly. Move the top right into place at the top of the 2 post assemblies. The curved edge should be facing down. Make sure it's flush to the top of each post, then attach it to the SL top left and SL top right using 4 wood screws. Position the SL end so that it's flush with the top of the 2 short joists and the short floor joist. Use 6 wood screws to secure it in place.